Hello, here we go.
You guys on there?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Hey, Sherri, we get to hang out together. I'm so excited that we are hanging out on our Real Life Women's Facebook page because you and I get to do Ladies Night Out virtually tonight.
Yay.
Yay. So how are you doing tonight?
I am good. I'm ready to go. I think this is going to be fun. I'm excited.
It's going to be fun. So you fixed Craig dinner. What'd you fix for dinner for Craig?
Leftovers.
What I fixed for myself was leftovers. I went home and
like, you gotta be quiet in the kitchen. No, we barbecued chicken yesterday and corn on the cob and all that stuff. So he had leftovers.
Leftovers from a barbecue is always a good thing.
Yes.
So, hey, ladies, as you begin to join us, we would love for you to share this video on your own Facebook page. We just want to invite as many people as possible. So go ahead and let us know that you're here. Give us some indicator that you're here and share that on your own Facebook page. We're going to have some givings and some drawaway. There you go. Some drawings and some giveaways. And we're going to talk a little bit about Jesus's word and hear some stories from our lives. So we're excited about that. So cool. And just kind of chat with us. We recognize that we are headed into a new season and not everybody is isolated as they were last time, but we wanted to give you guys a little bit of time to chat and to catch up. So Sherri, how did you spend your weekend? It was a beautiful weekend. What did you do for Mother's Day?
Yeah, we stayed home and barbecued for a while. All my kiddos came over and both my grandchildren are here. So that was awesome. And Craig's mom came over. Everyone was here. So that was good. And it was very joyful and peaceful and all those things. Craig had to preach last night for the North Campus. And so he did that for a little while. And when he did, we went down to Quinlan Park and then hiked along the falls and just went outside for a little while. And then my son Jake took everyone over and bought him ice cream at Rogers Ice Cream.
Oh, I love Rogers Ice Cream. I always grab the Huckleberry when I'm there.
That's what they got, Huckleberry shakes.
Did they get Huckleberry shakes? So, yeah. I did the first bonfire last night. My life group and I, we hung out at a fire pit and I roasted perfect marshmallows.
Nice. Yeah. I'm a good marshmallow stealer.
You're a marshmallow stealer? How do you steal marshmallows?
Well, this is a good story. So Chris Short is very particular. Everybody knows that. And he was I've done this to him twice. It was so beautiful. So he had a marshmallow roasted just golden perfect. And in the meantime, he put a graham cracker next to the fire with chocolate so it could melt, and it was all just so beautiful.
Just beautiful and perfect, like toasted the graham, melted the chocolate.
Everything. And the marshmallow was completely perfect, and he was bragging about it. Look at my marshmallow, this is perfect thing. And it was dark and there was a bunch of us around the campfire. And so I snuck out of my chair and went around behind, and right when he was just like getting ready to put it in his mouth, I stole it from him.
That's great, Sherri.
I got him twice.
You all right? So I know I got to guard my s'more.
Yeah. You just got to watch him. He's a good s'more maker, so you can steal them from him if you're around him.
The perfect s'more, like it all toasty and those kind of things. Nice. That's great. So I went to a friend's house and they did, the gentleman rolled sushi rolls for us. It was so good. Oh, I love sushi. It was excellent and great and good.
And you went for a walk today. Where did you go?
Well, actually, I was going to go for a walk, but it was kind of windy and I just had several different meetings. And so I actually just sat with a friend and talked with with Debbie Mack in her new remodeled house. And so it was a great conversation. But a couple of days ago, I went for a walk at Coeur d'Alene and Coeur d'Alene Lake. That's kind of one of my favorite places to walk. And so you park at a spot and you walk around the lake. There is nothing like sunshine and water to like help my soul feel better. So
yeah, that's my favorite thing, the lake.
Oh, wow.
Lovely, lovely.
Lovely. You are a fisherman.
I'm a fisherwoman.
You're a fisherwoman. Sorry, I'm just kind of glancing over here, looking at some of the people who are checking in.
Oh, Chris Short was watching.
Was Chris Short watching while you were telling about stealing his s'more?
Stealing his s'mores.
That's fine. Hey, ladies, if you've just joined us, we're so glad that you are here. Go ahead and share this video and maybe even start a watch party on your own personal Facebook, and just invite some of your friends to come hang out and share the video. That would be great. So lovely. See, like Bobby's here. Love that. I love that we have technology that even though we can't be together yet in these large group settings, we do have church that's open, that you are welcome to come to church on Thursday nights and on Sunday mornings. And Coeur d'Alene's changing their times, that they're going to start on Thursday nights, having service on Thursday nights and Sunday mornings. And so we get to come and do services, but we're not quite to the place where our government has said that it's okay for us to gather together outside of those times. So we'd love to see everybody come and join us. And yeah, so I
think the first time we get together, Santha, at Ladies Night Out, we just need to have a big party.
We do need to have a big party. Yes. And I was thinking about like, I realized how much of a hugger I am, that during this time we can't hug people. Oh my goodness. You're not supposed to hug people, because I'll be honest, I have broken that rule or that guideline or whatever you want to call it. I definitely am a hugger. So we're going to have a big party. Hey, maybe that's in July. We hope that it's in July that we'll be able to get together. We're going to, if that is all okay, July 13th, we're going to do Ladies Night Out outside on the lawns, and maybe have some live music, and we're going to see maybe some food trucks and those kind of things, just to get together. So I can hardly wait. Won't that be exciting?
Oh, yes, let's do it.
I'm all in. Ready for that.
Let's go.
So we have a new sermon series coming up. So I'm a full disclosure girl. So I got Sarah Short in here. She's kind of like the program manager. She's our social media guru. And I'm like, am I going too early? Is it time? Can I start to make some announcements? So if I glance over, it's because Sarah is either giving me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And we love Sarah. Our entire women's team is just an amazing group of girls. So this is Sherri Miles, and she works on other parts of the church, but man, we just consider her as part of our team too. So we so love her, and she's just a woman of wisdom and insight and fun and joy. So she knows how to throw a party. So that's great. So as I started to give some announcements, I'm like talking with, making sure that Sarah's saying that it's okay that I can start to do that. So, hey, we have a new sermon series starting to come up, and that sermon series is Cultivate. We have one more Sunday with Contagious. So we have one more week of that, but then the weekend after that, gosh, is that going to be Memorial Day weekend? I think it is. So we just did, I don't know about you guys, is it hard to keep track of dates, like dates and holidays and those kind of things? So the weekend of Memorial Day weekend, which means that it's about the Sunday the 24th, Thursday the 21st, we're going to start a new sermon series called Contagious. No, we just done Contagious. We're going to start one called Cultivate, which is about the fruits of the Spirit. And so you guys, it's going to be a great series. We were just having some conversations about that, and it's going to be good. Let's see. So I have some stuff to give away. I think it's time to give something away. I'm not even look over there to see if Sarah's saying it's okay. I'm just saying that it's okay. Okay, but we're going to give you a phone number, and you have to text in. You have to text in your first name and your last name, because this is a phone number that none of us have any contacts in. It's an additional, so we won't know who you are unless you give your first name and your last name. And so your first name and last name. And the question is, marshmallows, should they be golden brown, or should they be charcoaled from the fire? What should they be? Golden brown?
Can I play?
Brown or burnt? Brown or burnt? Which should they be? Golden or burnt? And the phone number, oh, you guys want the phone number? Huh. The phone number is 208-625-2924. Ooh, I wonder, should I write that down on something? It's right on my notes, but I can't show them my notes. All right, they're gonna put them in the comments. So we got Jen Wagner, and we got Shannon Kay, and we got Sarah, and maybe Deb. They are in the virtual lobby, so they are giving you guys comments. So 208-625-2924, golden or burnt? Which should it be? Which should a marshmallow for a s'more be? And I should tell you what you're going to win. So what you're going to win is a journal. So it's a Cultivate journal. Now I'm going to tell you this, when you open it up, it's going to say 2019. There's very little parts that are dated on it, and it's just a source of great questions. So Whitney Warren, she's our winner. Whoop, whoop. All right, good job, Whitney. Yay. Fabulous. So you had your grandkids here, and you had all of your kids. I talked to my niece. So your granddaughter's 9?
No, she's gonna be 13.
What? How did that happen?
Yeah, in August she's gonna be 13. We're gonna have a teenage granddaughter. What in the world?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy. So, hey, seeing Whitney Warren's name reminds me, Whitney has been involved in, this time we did classes online. We did a couple of Zoom classes on Monday night and on Tuesday morning. And so Whitney was in part of those. We have summertime. We're going to do some more classes. With that registration, they'll start July 6th. So July 6th, Monday night, July 7th, Tuesday morning. So that registration will be open June 1st, and we'll let you guys know what those offerings are. So can't promise anything. Some of those classes may be on campus. One of those classes may be on the Zoom platform. I don't know about you. Sometimes I get tired of Zooming. How about you, Sherry?
Yeah, it's hard for me because I'm with you. I'm a hugger, and I'm an extrovert and living in an introvert world, and so it's very difficult. I think Craig could stay here forever, but I need to get out and I need to go see my friends. Mm-hmm. And when you said that ladies' night out outside, right, in July?
Outside in July. We're hoping for that best. Yeah.
I am there.
All right. Free hugs.
Free hugs and pray for sunshine.
Pray for sunshine. Okay, so we have one more drawing. Okay, and one more drawing. So this time, what the drawing is going to be for this amazing book by Nicole Deese, which is Before I Called You Mine. It is like, it's getting some of the best reviews. I don't know if you guys know it. Nicole Deese is part of us. She is one of my dear, dear friends. It is an awesome, amazing book with just heartfelt, touching. So that's what
joined too, Santha.
What?
She just joined.
Did she just join? Yeah, we're gonna draw for Nicole's book. Yay! Okay, we're gonna draw for Nicole's book. So, let's see. The question is, remember you got to put your full name and your phone number. So I don't know. Are you a flower girl, Sherry?
Have I ever been a flower girl? No, just
No, what I mean by that is, do you like flowers?
I do.
Oh, I'm like, talk about sunshine and the water, and give me some blooming flowers, and I am just like almost set. A beach chair to go along with that. So
Yeah.
I want you to text in your favorite flower, your name, your phone, your name, first and last name, and what your favorite flower is. So phone number is 208-625-2924. And the first person who texts in, they get to win this amazing book. We'll have one more drawing, but that'll be towards the end. So here we go. There we go. So, gosh, I love doing Ladies Night Out. I am so thankful for Zoom and that we get to do those. That's an avenue that we've had. There you go. So we actually have 2 more drawings, but one is tomorrow. And how you get into tomorrow's, which is for some free apparel, is that you actually need to share the video, this video, on your own personal website, and that enters you into a drawing for some free apparel. So go ahead, ladies, hit that share right now. And Vanessa Ball, you won this book. So we will be getting this book to you. It's an amazing read. So you're just going to enjoy it. You're going to find your place, spot in the sun, puts your toes in the river, and read a book. Okay. Nice. So, all right. So last month we talked to Shannon and Sarah were on here, and they were talking about the unexpected. You and I, Sherri, get to dive into we get to handle the topic of empty. Interesting topic, isn't it?
Yes, empty.
Empty. I'm just thinking about like when I was, what?
I said such a fun topic.
Such a fun topic. So I was thinking about, we would love for you guys to comment on down below, comment on this page. When we say the word empty, what comes to mind? What comes to mind? Yep, so just go ahead, give us a few comments about what you, when you hear the word empty, what comes to mind? I don't know, Sherri, but when we started talking about this, one of the first things I thought about was, hey, we've just come from a season where empty shelves. I don't know about you, but this has been like one of the first times that I've ever walked through like a grocery store. I was just grocery shopping yesterday, and I go, oh, there's a run on pasta. There were empty shelves.
Yeah, you know, that is so good, Santha, because that is the thing. I mean, their shelves are empty of toilet paper, flour. Right in the beginning, you couldn't even find a can of soup. I was surprised on that one. I was like, it was just gone. And yeah, it's intriguing. Lysol still empty. No cleaners for your home at all.
I did get bleach yesterday though. That was
nice.
Yeah. So I see some words like empty glass, dissatisfied, quarantine. Some of you guys are like putting in, oh my gosh, empty gas tank. I had to fill up my gas tank today because I went, how far can I go with that light showing? Like at 25 miles, I went, you probably really need to stop and fill this up. And so empty, nothing to give. Mm-hmm. There we go. So what comes to your mind, Sherri?
For me, I think in this season of life, empty means, for me personally, was just come out of a season of being really depleted physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I'll explain a little bit about that later, but there's that. And then just recently, during all of the pandemic, we became empty nesters. So that empty is actually a celebration for me. I love my children so much, but it's just been nice. And so honestly, for Craig and I, this is the first time we've ever been just the 2 of us. Oh, so I was a single mom with 2 sweet little girls when we got married. So this is the first time it's just been him and I, and it's been really nice.
That's fantastic. So you're kind of like, you know, the retro newlyweds, you know?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Did a lot of cleaning too of our home. I kind of like organization. And so I'll show you this picture. I think I posted on Facebook, and I don't know how to do the split screen, but this is us going to the, waiting for the Goodwill store to open.
Ah, 1 month of stay-at-home spring cleaning. Look at all of that. Ah, thrift store.
That's pandemic cleaning.
That's pandemic and empty nester cleaning. Yeah. So now you got empty closets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. So that's fantastic. So empty can be both hilarious and hard. So you and I, as we were talking about this, we asked each other this kind of question. So when you feel empty, when you might feel empty, do you have a go-to empty filler?
Look at, we're both laughing.
We are both laughing.
It's embarrassing.
I know. When
I found out we both did the same thing, I'm like, oh no, what's happening to us? So yes, I had a terrible empty filler, and it was Toon Blast on my phone and my iPad. I never play video games.
I know. It just cracked me up that we were both talking about, like, so sometimes, I'll be honest, I can try an empty filler like a TV show, or sometimes I can try to fill my empty with chocolate. Tastes good the first little bit, but the consistent thing has been Toon Blast, which is like, I've never played video games. And now I have this game on my phone that, like, you know, we're gonna have to start an addictive group for it or something like that. Because
I was convicted because my phone showed my screen time. And I was like,
yes.
I'm not on that much. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's that stupid game. So I deleted it. I don't want to tell you what level I was at.
I am not going to tell you what level I was at either. And I'll be honest, it's still on my phone. So I think, you know, like 1 or 2 moments, you know, there's a difference between a brain break and then it becoming an empty filler. So maybe after talking with you, I'm going to be convicted that it needs to come off. But empty filler. So that's kind of funny. Hey, you guys text in or comment down below what happens to be your empty fillers. Every one of us has an empty filler. When you feel empty, or you're maybe trying, sometimes it's my escape. Like I am just trying to, I move past, like just having a brain break to, I don't want to think about things. And I just kind of, every now and then I want to avoid some stuff.
Yeah. So Ruthie, she's actually a sweet, almost like one of my daughters, Stephanie in her group. She said, I did, all in capital letters, just actually delete that game.
Ruthie, now you're going to convict me. Oh my goodness.
I think she's trying to get us to get on another game. 2 dots.
Oh, I don't know if I can start another game because I have enough of an addictive personality. Like one time I got a brand new computer and there was solitaire on it. And I'm like, oh, well, and I'm not always very good at reading directions. So like I start playing solitaire on my new computer, and then I realized that there was like a way to beat the game. Oh, then you add my competitive nature to that. And I'm like, I will beat it. And so like one more game. And the next thing I knew, my alarm clock was going off and I had stayed up the entire night figuring out how to beat the computer playing solitaire. Oh,
we've got social media, TV shows, puzzles, Candy Crush, sleep. Ooh, I like that one. Animal Crossing.
Yes, those empty fillers, those way to escape. So we want to talk about empty can be both good and hard. There's a space and a place when empty can become full. So if you guys have a piece of paper, here's what I'd love for you to do. I'd love for you to write down this phrase. Will you step into the empty so that you can become full? It's a phrase, a sentence or a thing that Sherri and I, as we were talking about, is that, and we're starting to challenge ourselves. Will you step into the empty so that you can become full? Now that kind of sounds like a little bit of an oxymoron. Sometimes we need to empty ourselves. Sometimes we need to fill that. Often empty comes from a disruption. So as we were talking about this, I was thinking about how we as the entire world have been living disruption. Some people are still living it more than others. Some of us are starting to step back into like different phases where the world doesn't feel quite as disrupted. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about another time that I felt disruption in my life. And it was when I lived, it was before I lived here. And the organization that I was working with, I happened to be a single mom too. You mentioned that you were a single mom. I was a single mom. The organization that I was working with, you could see the writing on the wall that we were going to fail. It was like, you know, it was getting sad and things were dropping off. And I was a single mom. And I got to be honest, Sherri, I was pretty scared. I was worried because this disruption, I wasn't quite sure how was I going to provide for my son? How was I going to handle things? And so, so if you had been watching me at my house one night, I would have looked like a crazy woman because I literally like was walking, pacing back and forth, talking to God going, I don't know what to do. I really just don't know what to do. I don't. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I can get into a place where I start thinking the same thing over and over again, and it is so hard to get out of that same set of thoughts. And so I really believe like God put this thought in my mind, and I remembered a Bible story. And so I would have looked like a crazy woman again, because I opened up my cupboards and I started pulling out every pot and pan that I had and just setting them on the cupboards. Because of the Bible story that came back to my mind. And so I just love to share that Bible story. So it happens to be in 2 Kings. 2 Kings is in the Old Testament. If you go to 2 Kings 4, everybody grab your Bible. See, I even have my Bible with me, but I'm going to tell you the story, but grab your Bible. God's word is once Sherri and I were talking and we were preparing, and she said, God's word is delicious. And it is. God's word, because of the heart of God. That's what makes it so delicious. So the story is about a woman who is a widow, and she is in some dire straits. And she goes to a prophet named Elisha, and she said, hey, my husband loved the Lord deeply and dearly, and he actually even worked with you. And now he's dead, and I have a problem. The problem is we owe some money. And the guy that we owe money to, that we're creditors to, he is coming. He is on his way to come and to collect, and I can't pay him. And so because it's empty and I can't pay him, he's going to take my sons as slaves. And I need some help. So Elisha said, I wonder what I can do. I wonder what I can do for you. And so he went on to say, well, what do you have? And she says, I got nothing. I got nothing. Well, except I have this little thing of oil. I have really got nothing, but I got this little tiny jar of oil. And Elisha said to her, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go up and down the street, talk to all of your neighbors, and I want you to get empty containers, as many empty containers from them as you can. Don't get just a few, get several, get the empty containers. And then I want you to go in your house, and I want you to shut the door, and I want you to take the little bit of oil that you have, and I want you to pour it out into all of the empty containers. So she did that. She borrowed the containers, went into the house, and she started pouring out the oil. And her sons were there. And as she was pouring out the oil, then she just kept pouring it out into the different containers as they would hand them to her. And finally she said, hand me another container. And her son said, they're all gone, that we filled them all up. And so she went back to Elisha, and she said, what should I do? And he said, go sell the oil. Go sell the oil and pay the debt that you have. And then you guys have something to live. You have things to live off of. So I remember feeling so empty that that I literally took all the cupboards, took all of my pots and pans out and went, Lord, you just have to give me an answer. I'm standing here with empty pots and pans. And so that's the story that came to mind. And you and I have been talking about that story a little bit, Sherri. So let's unpack that story a little bit. Let's talk about like what stands out. What stands out in that story? One of the things that stands out in that story to me is that she had a need and she expressed it. She actually went to somebody, so she didn't just stay stuck in her rut in her own mind, which I can do that. I can just stay stuck in my own rut. And she went to somebody and said, hey, I need help. And what would, I need help. Here's my situation. And I loved how he had care and concern for her, and he helped her see her situation with some different eyes. You know, she goes, I got nothing. And he goes, but he asks her enough and cares enough that she realizes that she has some oil. So what stood out to you?
Yeah, you know, I really like verse 3 where Elisha says, go around and ask the neighbors for empty jars, and not just one or two, but, you know, several. And he actually gave her an action step to go do something that she was going to be a part of it. He wasn't just going to give handouts. And so she actually had to engage the community too. You know, I think about, you know, life groups and things that when we say we're doing life together, I thought it was just neat to go, he wants to have her be engaged in it, but he's also inviting the community to be a part of it. So yeah. I just think that was really cool.
And I like it, you know, like there's kind of some appropriate expectations of that community too, because he doesn't say go borrow lots and lots of oil and then turn around. He's like, go ask for empty pots. I'm like, yeah. To me,
yeah, there's a risk. There's a risk in that.
Yeah, I'm like, will I look crazy that I just want to borrow all your empty pots, you know? And I was also thinking about how many times when she didn't say, yeah, but she didn't say, well, that's a dumb idea. I don't know how that's going to help. And she didn't say, I just have a little bit of oil. Like she had to take some big risks. You know, she had to go ask. And I like I had a sixth grade teacher, I think that she said, everybody, yeah, buts, you know, I tell you to do something and it will help you, but you go, yeah, but, and you give me all the reasons why it won't work. And so maybe she thought them, but you know, that's not recorded, but she goes and she does this strange thing. She asks for help from her community, which is a great thing, but she asks it in such a way that it's still kind of risky, you know?
Yeah, because she could have asked for jars of oil.
Yeah, she could have asked for jars of oil.
But he specifically, you know, I'm looking at my Bible, he says, go around and ask your neighbors for empty jars.
Empty jars.
Yeah.
Another thing I think about, where am I empty that other people could use? You know, something that I don't. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm also thinking about how she actually went in and how that would have been risky. You know, like I got this little bit of oil and I got all of these empty jars and things. And so she actually shut the door and she did it. I love that she goes, as you and I were talking about this earlier, I'm trying to picture what would it be like to go, here's the little bit that I have, and now I'm going to start to pour it out, and what faith that took. I love, she had to step into the empty, so that she had to acknowledge that she was empty. She had to get empty jars. She had to look at what she did have, in order for her to get full. So I love how she stepped into the empty so that she could get filled. Mm-hmm. God's story is amazing. But I also know that God writes stories in our lives. So I would love, Sherri, for you just to tell us a little bit about how has God met you in the empty?
Yeah. Well, you know, earlier I was just saying, the last 3 years for me have been so difficult, on so many different levels. It was emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And it had to do with lots of different circumstances in my life, everything from just some struggles we were having as a family, some struggles I was having with some personal relationships, some transitions on my team at work, and just a lot of different things. And
lots of disruptions.
yeah, lots of interruptions. And it was something, there were lots of things. Oh, and I was, for my whole life, I wondered like who my dad is. And I actually had found him. So that was in all that too. But there was just so much. And for so long, I was running on empty and didn't really know it. And part of me just didn't know that I was that tired. And I had friends, I mean, you were one of them that were like, you are going to just burn yourself out. And I'm like, well, I'm fine.
I
And
got it.
I got this. And, you know, other Shannon, Shelly, everybody. And when you're in it, it's funny because it doesn't feel so empty. It feels hard.
Yeah.
But there's only so much adrenaline and serotonin that you have. And when that is drained, you don't just get it back. And I ran really hard for 3 years and in lots of different areas of my life that completely drained me. And it was really scary to me because I'm more of a joyful person. Like you said, I like parties and things like that. And I love people. And I had absolutely not 1 ounce of anything to give anyone. I was so empty. It scared me, like even spiritually. And I realized that God had me study a lot of words like brave and courageous and joy and perseverance and all these words over a period of years that I really dug into. And I was able to take those, and it sustained me having God's word that I had studied and his promises to me, because I honestly just couldn't hardly function. And I got to a point where I'm like, I think I'm depressed, and I don't struggle with depression, but I knew something was wrong because the feel goods and all of that just wouldn't come back. And I didn't feel right. I knew something was really, really wrong. And, you know, I ended up going to the doctor. And even then, like some of my friends are like, well, maybe you should go to the doctor. And I'm like, nah, I'm okay. You know, and I just tried so hard to do it on my own. And finally, I took that step and went and talked to a doctor and got on some medication. And honestly, it wasn't a good medication because I became just this stone cold, like I didn't care about anybody. I couldn't cry. I couldn't do anything. And it was weird because I knew I missed my emotions, that was that empty. And so we adjusted all of that. And a year later, it just all regulated, and I just feel so much better. But running on empty like that is so painful. And in that is where I started going to counseling. And with counseling, and that was something else people kept telling me to do that, you know, I didn't do.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but I don't want to go. Yeah, but I'm going to be okay. And I think I said that for like 3 years. But when I did, you know, it does remind me of the story of finally reaching out to somebody and going, I need help. Just like the woman did with Elisha. I mean, she's like, I need help. I'm going to lose my sons. And I did that. And I got into counseling, and I'm like, I need help. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know the journey God was going to take me on. And he met me in that empty place. But I had to leave space for that. And it really makes me think of just that alone time. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in just a little bit. But I had to make space for it, I guess, is the thing. And just listening to advice and wise counsel from somebody, the person that I'm doing counseling with, I actually knew me. And so at first I didn't think that was good, but then it actually became an incredible blessing, because he knew my excuses and knew my hard drive and my go-getter, everything in, all in kind of person. And he challenged me with those things in a really, really painful way. I'm getting my booty kicked over here. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a really empty spot for me to sit in for a while.
I love how um, I love how you stepped into that empty. That that you tried to run from it. You tried to. Sometimes I try to out busy my empty. I try to keep myself so busy, and I have lots of stuff on my plate that, or I try to escape and distract myself, and not do that. So
Yeah, I
love
tried
how,
to wish it away. Like
yeah,
I just wish this I was chalking it up as feelings, I just wish this feeling would go away. I wish God would take it from me. I wish I could be like I used to be. I wish this depression and I could just be back where I was. And I realized like all the wishing in the world doesn't allow God to step in. We have to have a desire and initiate that with Him so He can meet us there.
yeah, I love that. I love that. So like our woman, she had a little bit of oil, and to me I kind of think of like the oil like God, and that there's God's part. Like God had to make the oil multiply, but she had to go look for help. She had to gather things. And there's sometimes where I'm just going, I just want the oil to multiply, and maybe if I just sit here and play Toon Blast long enough, it'll go away. I'll feel better. It'll go away. I'll have figured it out. Blah blah blah. Whatever it is, because I can do that, or I can get myself so busy and like I'm just going to try to outrun it. And if I just work harder, and that doesn't, sometimes I think I have so much on my plate that I don't have time to step into the empty. And it's just actually making me feel emptier because I'm just getting busier and busier
Yeah.
in that. So even as you're talking, I'm thinking about how I have somebody in my life who has been suggesting through an assignment that I'm doing, I had somebody give me an idea like, slow down, do this daily for the next 3 months. And I gotta be honest, you're convicting me a little bit because I'm like, yeah, but I don't have 3 months. Yeah, but my impatience shows up and I don't want to step in and to do that. But that's some of the hard work of stepping in and going, what's my part of doing
Yeah, I prefer miraculous healings over 3-year process.
Yes, yes, I am with you. Those miraculous healings. So
Yeah.
we've talked a little bit about like God's story. Ladies, we could go on and talk, but we're going to honor your time. So we've talked about God's story. We've shared a little bit about our story. And now we want to talk a little bit about your story, because that's what's in. How does God's word interact and counter with your story? So we actually imagine that I'm doing this and we have some questions. Imagine that. So we actually have some questions that we thought we want to challenge you guys that will you step into your own empty so that you can become full, because we know that God is going to meet us and that He will fill us. So one of the questions that we have is, what's your empty? Can you be still long enough or honest or real enough with your own self to find out, to answer what's your empty? And it may be, my empty is that my life's not the way it used to be anymore. My empty may be that I don't have the same schedule because I'm now cooking, cleaning, working, and homeschooling kids. I don't know what your empty is, but I know that there are some. What was the next question that you had?
Do you try to figure it out on your own, or do you invite others in? There are just people who see things differently than we do when we're in it, and they're kind of on it. When we're in it, we lose perspective of what's going on in our lives and our behaviors, and other people can see that. And that's why community and doing life together in life groups, small groups, those things are so important, because you need people to see a different perspective than you when you're in it. And I don't know about all of you girls, but I try to be the Holy Spirit in my kids' life. And I'll just give you a tip so you don't have to endure pain. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. We are supposed to coach and disciple our children, so it's not a hands-off thing. But I think as a mom, I think that's been one of the most painful things for me in raising my kids over the years is I want to save them when they're little. Like I'm thinking about the moms that are at home right now and they're trying to do school and they're trying to be a mom and they're trying to either work at home or they're frustrated because they can't work, all the things. And when kids are little and they come to us, we fix the things. You know, if they're hungry, we help them. If they're hurt, we help them. If they're crying, we console them. And so we're kind of like there and helping them fix. And there comes a point when free will sets in and we can't do those things. And that's really difficult as a mom.
Yeah. The other question that we wanted them to ask is, what could be your oil? You got something. Everybody's got something, even when you feel like you got nothing. I was remembering a time when it was actually shortly after my husband died. And I hurt so dang bad. And I didn't know, it sounds like I don't know what to do. I think that's my phrase, like when I'm stuck, is that I don't know what to do. But I hurt so bad. But I remember thinking that God has not left me, and there's got to be other people in the world who hurt. I can't be the only one who's hurting right now. Like I'm significant. I have a small life. It's a significant life. I am not the only one hurting when I'm hurting. I am hurting, but I'm not the only one hurting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting and thinking about that there's got to be other people who are facing stuff, who are hurting while I am, and what can I do just to get myself out of me? And I remember making a list of like 3 different people that I could think of. One had just adopted twins. You know more about that than I do, but they weren't hurting, but I knew that they, anyway, so I thought of a list of 3 people and I made them a tuna casserole. Now, in retrospect, tuna casserole is not necessarily the casserole to deliver to anybody, because you got to know that somebody likes tuna, and not everybody does like tuna, but that's what I had. I just had tuna casserole was my favorite. It was a childhood recipe, and it's the stuff that I had. And so I remember making 3 tuna casseroles and going around and delivering them, because that's what I had. And that helped me. Didn't change or fix things, but it helped me get out of that moment. So the question we'd love for you guys to sit and think about is, what's your oil? And maybe it's tuna casseroles. I don't know what your oil is, but when you're feeling like you got nothing, there is something. And I love what you said is like asking people, because sometimes we're so stuck in things that, like what you said, Sherri, is that having some people look on it, and maybe somebody's going to help you, like Elisha helped her see, help you see what is it that you have to offer. What's that oil you got? So when empty becomes full, and we are stepping into a new stage of our world. Our world has changed and may not feel like, I don't exactly know what's going to happen next, Sherri, as we enter into these different phases. So what is one thing that you would tell our gals about empty as we step into this next stage of what our world has to offer us?
Yeah. Empty's hard. It is hard, and it takes initiative and courage and risk to step into those empty areas. And I want to challenge you to get alone and be quiet. When Elisha said, now go in the house and shut the door, she didn't put the jars out for everyone to see this miracle that was going to happen. She went in her home with her boys, shut the door, and God did a great thing. And my challenge is, how God started healing me was I had to get alone. I had to shut the door of my bedroom by myself, and I'm not a journaler, and I had to start writing things down as God would bring them to my mind. That was my challenge, and to see what God had for me. And I don't write or journal, and I have probably 3 journals. In the few, I started this in December, just writing the things down that
Writing it all out. Wow.
yeah. So just get alone and it's hard and it's painful, but let the empty space be filled with God so that you can hear him.
Sometimes creating silence and creating that space just to hear. I know that I can put so much noise in my world. So that's really good. One of the things that I just realized as we step into, and I was at Walmart yesterday, and I was like, our world has changed, and it takes just more emotional energy just to interact in our world. I don't know what it's all going to look like, but I know that like when I need to stand in line to enter into Walmart, and people are a little cautious of one another, I recognize that I can't run on empty. Ladies, it's been a great time, and we absolutely have loved you. So don't run on empty. Come find your oil. We have a few question and answers, but we have one more giveaway to give while you guys text in some questions. And so let's see. We have another journal to give away, ladies. Another journal, and I gotta find my phone number. I love the insight that God's Word and and Sherri have given, and just even, you know, that be courageous to step in the empty so that God can fill it. And there we go. Now I have found. So we're going to give away another journal. And remember, if you share this page, if you share this on your, you get entered into this, to the final contest that's going to get tomorrow. So here's the phone number. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the question to ask. I'm asking. So here's the phone number. Remember, you got to do your first and your last name and the answer to the question. The question is tuna yes? Is tuna good, or is tuna bad? Here's your phone number to text it into is 208-625-2924. So 208-625-2924. I bet the girls put that up on the screen. Text that in. The first person wins. So, hey, Sherri, we've gotten a couple of questions. Have you seen? Yeah, a couple of questions have come in. So, first question is, how do you figure out what your oil is? How would you answer that?
Oh, that's good.
That's a good question.
No, really, I really do think that it's in the quiet space that you'll know those things. There's that. It's abiding in Christ. He will reveal those to you. But God also speaks through people. And there are people that are in our lives that God brings into our path that speak truth into our lives. And one thing is, be careful who you listen to. The second thing is somebody who you know has your best interest, who can say the hard things to you and you're okay with those. Doesn't mean it's not going to hurt, but people that are willing to challenge you because they love you so much. And I would say, ask. There are times when I have to ask people, you know, I've asked you, Santha, when I'm in a bad spot, or I've asked Craig or Shannon. I'm like, okay, I think this is what I'm doing. Help me self-assess here because I am out of control. And once you start being self-aware of those things, I think that you start pressing into those empty spots where you're just feeling depleted or deprived of.
Absolutely. Love that. I love that ask. Another thing that I would say is that keep a gratitude journal. Write out, what are you thankful for? And then that begins to, the other thing, so Elisha helped her see her oil. Here's something that I would say is, when you see good stuff in people, tell them. Because often we don't see it in our own selves. If someone's blessed you, encouraged you, if you see stuff in them, let's begin like people, what should we call it? Oil finders, that we help people find oil. And so, give words of encouragement, sincere and genuine compliments. So I love that combination of ask for it and then go find it. Okay, question number 2. How do I initiate relationships?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and I would say with that one, it's another one of those situations that takes courage and risk, because a lot of us don't want to pursue relationships because we've been hurt or we're afraid, and we have to step out and do those things. For me, my advice would be a great way to get relationships would be to get into a life group, to attend things like ladies' night out when we're all together, where you can be introduced to other women. And some of it really does take an initiative. I think it goes back to like, just like the woman had to take initiative to go out into the community and ask. We have to risk and take initiative to go, I need a friend, and I want to challenge you also to pray for that, because I've done that before. And I remember really praying for a specific friend that I just needed in my life. And honestly, God brought it, but you have to be aware of who God puts in front of you, because sometimes it's like, I need a sign, I need an answer, and it's right there and we don't pay attention. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I've learned, that it's not just attending the things, it's taking the initiative to have a conversation, to say, hey, I love your purse, or you got great shoes, or, that's often sometimes my way into starting a conversation. How do I find some common ground? And I love that. Take the initiative and pray and to watch to see what God has. All right, we got one last question. We got time for that. All right. How do I know I am running on empty?
Ask your best friend. Honestly, for me, when I'm running on empty, I think I'm going to be careful with my answer, because it's not just like how I am. Everybody's different. And we either have different behaviors or things that will come out of us when we're empty. So when you're constantly running on empty, everything's just draining out of you. And are you short? Are you like snippy and short with people? Are you frustrated and angry? For me, I knew my personality had changed, and my drive and passion for going outside, which I love. The things that I loved, I did not want to do anymore. I didn't want to eat right. I didn't want to exercise. I didn't want to go do anything. I just want to play Toon Blast.
Toon Blast.
Did you play Toon Blast? No, I'm just joking. But really, there's things that are about you that if you ask somebody that's close to you and you honestly want to hear what they have to say, then, and are you approachable so people can actually say those things to you?
I love that, being close enough, let somebody speak into you. But I know about you that there's just things that I know about my own self. Like if I start to binge on sugar, that is a good sign. If my sleeping, like I don't need a lot of sleep. I know that there are people who need 8 to 12 hours sleep. I work hard to get the 6 and 7 hours of sleep. But when I watch myself and I begin to get like 3 and 4 hours of sleep, because I'm just like, I go, I'm starting to run on empty. If I'm short, impatient, insecure, critical, there you go. This is like confession time. These are things that I know with my own self that I go, I may not look like I'm running on empty, but I know I'm running on empty. I also just personally know that if I go, like I have a really regular time with the Lord, maybe it's long, maybe it's short. If I miss 2 or 3 days, even if it's just like I got 10 minutes and I can sit with the Lord, if I'm not consistently making myself to do that, I know that it is moments of time before, it's just days before I am running on empty, but it looks like my own strength. And I can still look competent, but I can begin to feel those things happen inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I also know if I haven't had good, long, hard talks with friends, then I begin to run on empty. So I think the part of it is knowing yourself and finding out what is competence, what is emptiness, and what is just downtime. Asking the Lord, show me, where am I at? So ladies, we're out of time. And I want to say, Brittany Kretz, even though you said tuna was bad, you win. So
Brittany, tuna's yummy.
So thanks for joining us, ladies. Share this. And we just loved hearing from you. And you're the best. We're looking forward to seeing you later.
Bye.
Sherri, I love you. You're just
love you too, Santha. See ya.
Bye.